Right now, we are going to be turning our attention to the crisis that has left no region unaffected. Okay, a lot of persons have gone through this. No community is unaffected, no community is untouched. Talking about the rising insecurity across our nation, from the persistent threat of Boko Haram in the northeast to banditry in the northwest, herder farmer crashes, and of course, rampant kidnappings. Even in urban centers, Nigeria is bleeding on multiple fronts. Just last month, dozens were killed in Plateau State, in Zamfara. We had school children abducted and remain unaccounted for. In Borno State, the scars of insurgency still remain fresh. Despite billions that are actually allocated to security annually, Nigerians are still asking, am I truly safe? Now, to join me to unpack this multi-layered crisis, I'm being joined by three wonderful guests. I have Bishop Austin Igbasan, a public affairs analyst in the building. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. I also have Comrade Doris Ogbefun. She's a respected civil rights activist. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And also joining us via Zoom virtually, I have Barrister Pius Oiwo, who will join us much later on the show. All right, so let's talk with my guest right here in the studio. I'll start off with Bishop Igbasan. Talk to us. Why do you think insecurity is something that is always in the news on a daily basis, and why hasn't it been stopped or curbed?
I think it's a deliberate effort not to put an end to it, because insecurity is not rocket science, because security itself is the business of all. Okay. And when we ask ourselves question, are those who are causing all this mayhem, are they spirit? No, they are not spirit. Are they angels? No, they are not angels. Do they come from the moon? No, they are not from the moon. They are still with us. So I think that there must be there's a deliberate mindset not to continue to allow it to fly, because the people that comes to do this, if you look at Plato for instance, Plato issue is more than 3 decades.
Yes.
And these are things that are happening repeatedly. Can you lay your hand on how many persons have been sentenced to jail? Now, these people that comes in and commit this kind of crime, how many of them have been tried and sent to jail? How many of their sponsors? Because I can tell you that insecurity, there is no insecurity that just comes from the moon. There are people within this country who their business is that we call them merchandise of war. These kind of people would never want the country to be secure, because they feed and feast on insecurity. And until the government take a proactive step, you see, there are what we call reactionary. You are reactionary in your actions on what is happening. That one, when you do that, lives are already lost. Yeah. Look at the number of people that were given mass burial. Now, another thing that happened through that is that the people who lost their parent or their loved one is through insecurity. They are already another citizen that are being mentored to become an agent of insecurity. Because some of them will feel that, oh, the state failed to protect my parent. And even those who killed my parent, what really happened to them? We are seeing the way some people in the part of Nigeria are clamoring for repentant bandits. They say repentant. We saw how some people moved and they forgive some Boko Haram and said they want to reintegrate them to society, even when the soldiers that lost, the wife of the soldiers that lost their husband have not been taken care of. Yeah. Those women came at a time that they have to protest and said, those who kill our husband, you are giving them VIP treatment. So I think that the nation itself, is the issue of insecurity. Nigerians can rise up and flow with leadership. I think that it has to do with leadership. There are people in this country that have made themselves sacred cow, that when they do things, now how many hours does it take in FLA to track the people that did NSAS, their source of funding? We have also seen in Dubai how some names are mentioned about Nigerians who are financing terrorism. What is our CBN doing? What is our airspace doing to monitor things that are done? How funds are being transferred? What is our security expert doing in tracking funds and ways by which all these people are moving their things? So I think that until the government rise up, because what happened in Plateau happened last year. Yeah. It happened almost 2 or 3 times last year. Now, in Nigeria, we have jailbreak. Even when people go to jail, some people also arrange for them to come out of jail. Look at jailbreak. Has anybody been sentenced? Has any of the officers there? The man who commanded army to leave that place before the invasion, what happened to him? Is that man taking authority from heaven? that ask the military to leave that place. So these are things we ask ourselves. So it's only if we want to be deceiving ourselves, we are going to say some persons are within this country who their job is to make sure the country is ungovernable, and they found this one. I think our security experts and people that are mandated to be in charge must be able to do what we call, if you arrest someone and you also jail the person and you did not track who funded the person, who sponsored the person, you have not taken the problem from the surface. You have not been able to deal with it. And I said to you, a government told us in Nigeria that they cannot shame people. The people that are wasting life, they say we can't shame them. We can't mention their name in the public. Yet other nations who have been able to track them, so we are doing this. So we're going to ask ourselves a question. Let me give you an example. In a Edo command today, there is no tracker. No tracker. A whole command, AIG, no tracker. They tell you Abuja. Now the question is that this is tracker that ordinary Yahoo boy on the street can track things. That's why I told the EFCC that time, the Yahoo boy, bring them together. We need their brain. Let them sit together. How they track this thing? Let's make use of them. They are good guys. They have the wisdom. Let's bring them together. Because even the Yahoo guys we are talking about, police are collecting money from them on daily basis. Then who is not the culprit? Now, somebody steals something. Another person help the person to bring it down. Another person help the person to sell it. So you are going to know that it's a chain that if you are going to stop it, you have to deal with those who collect than those who help them to disburse it. So I think that the leadership of the nation must come out to be able to let us know that we are going to deal with insecurity. We are going to talk about traditional rulers. We talk about headers. How many of the owners of this cow have we seen? You are talking about they are killing people in the farm. What about the man who owns the cow? Have we been able to ask them to come out, those who have the cow? Because the people that owns the cow employ the people that go with AK-47 to kill people. So we cannot say we are surface touching the issue of insecurity. We must come out to be able to say the government must come out that they are ready to deal with it. How many times has the governor of Plateau State sent condolence message to his people? This will not repeat itself. Last year, that was what was told. Then how do somebody lost his wife and children in this kind of thing? The man is already a threat to the nation himself because he's going to take into arms if he's not properly guided and debriefed. Because you can see some people enter into this insecurity because of the pain of losing their loved one to a nation that has failed to take care.
All right, that brings me to my next question, but I'll direct it to Comrade Ogbefun. Now, ordinary Nigerians seem to be the ones who are bearing the brunt of insecurity. You don't really hear a lot of top government officials going through all of this. It's the ordinary Nigerians we see that pass through all of this. Now, there's this call, this movement now looking out for us to defend ourselves. Don't wait for security personnel. Everyone is calling for self-defense. Do you think it would cause more good than harm?
Okay, self-defense is not still something that is nice or lawful in Nigeria. At least from the last Supreme Court judgment, you can see that it actually does not stand anymore. But we need to really understand the association between insecurity and mining. Okay. I mean, natural resources that we have in Nigeria. Nigeria is blessed with lots of mineral resources. Yes. And it is now very glaring that such blessings now are turning to becoming a problem in this nation, because it is evident that states in Nigeria where mineral resources are found in abundance is faced with this menace of insecurity. Edo is not spared. Zamfara is one of them. Plateau State is there. Benue State, we can continue to count in Nigeria. So this is a tool, a clear tool where the elites explore. It is a loophole they leverage on to perpetrate their illegal mining activities. If you take a look in our legal and we say our legal framework in Nigeria, it does not really empower states, governments to take charge of security in terms of guiding those mining sites, those areas where those mineral resources are found in abundance. I would like to cite one of our legal instruments, which is the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2007. Section 1 of this law clearly stated that wherever these mineral resources are found, federal government is in sole control of such resources. And for so long, Nigeria has monopolized our foreign exchange in terms of focusing on crude oil for foreign exchange. And you know, we are now clamoring for diversification of our economy. And that has driven a shift into exploring other mineral resources that we have. Gold, limestone, quarry, we can name so many that are being illegally mined, including silver, that are being illegally mined today in different parts of the country. And we cannot rule out the fact that sponsoring local banditry or insurgency aids or facilitates this illegal mining process in our communities. Because, you know, where problem strives, those behind it gain lots more into it. I have seen communities where this mineral is found in abundance, and some youths were armed to dislodge those people. We call it displacement. Normally, in a saner society, where such things are found, the inhabitants ought to be settled, at least give them resettlement, give them a place that is better off than where they are living, where they are being asked to live. You know, when you do this land acquisition, I mean by the government, you follow the due process of the minimum standards as speculated by the United Nations in resettling these inhabitants, because they are being asked to leave their ancestral homes. But unfortunately, as a result of corruption, poor governance, and ineptitude of those saddled with this responsibility, greed and stuff like that, prevents people from getting what is due for them. So they now prefer to dislodge this set of people. I will challenge every Nigerian to look inwards. If your community is having crisis when it has to do with insecurity, I know vividly that there are still places where maybe these natural resources were not there, they are not there in abundance, but they may have this advantage of maybe having a very reserved, fantastic forest where cattle can go and graze. Is still part of the resources. Remember the effects of climate change. You can't still rule that out. Where drought and desertification from the north has caused mayhem in our climate and conditions, the tropical conditions that we have in this part of the country, where these farmers find solace, because migration is a fundamental human right. Nobody can take it away from us. Yes. Where they now move their livelihood, their means of livelihood. I see cow as this set of people's means of livelihood, just as we still have our own type of livelihood in the south. So they migrate to the southern part of Nigeria to make sure that they feed their cow in order to have a means of living.
Okay, but
I am not justifying their actions. But basically, when this crime has resulted into arming these guys with sophisticated weapons,
yes,
mark it, just check those states where these crises are very prominent, prevalent. You will understand that illegal mining activities are frequently unabated, going on unabated in all of these areas. And we should also not write off the role of the foreigners into this problem, because most times you will understand that even discovering and the mining of these resources, is still being done in collaboration with these foreign expatriates. That is why we say what we experience today is an organized crime, when it has to do with the insecurity or the security challenges that we are facing today in Nigeria. It is very glaring that it is an organized crime. So when we look at these factors together, we begin to ask ourselves fundamental questions, which is, we need to collectively address this problem, because it has become proven today that those saddled with the responsibility to protect lives and property of the citizen is facing enormous challenges and gaps. And that is where communities, individuals, community inhabitants, the community gatekeepers, those we mention like the traditional rulers,
yeah,
the religious rulers, the youths, heads of organizations, should be charged with the responsibility of waking up to really understand what is happening. And we all have that right to exercise our freedom of expression as is enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution in Chapter 4. Where you speak up, when you see something, you speak up and you take action to defend your community.
Let's talk about the way forward, because we're pressed for time. Bishop Igbasan, you get to hear a lot of times government officials coming to say we're on top of the situation, but still the situation is on top of all of us. What is the way forward?
I think the way forward is that the government, because the issue that has to do with insecurity has a chain round about so many persons, so many players, as far as it is concerned. I tell you, the man who supplies egusi to the soldiers that are fighting in Borno, supply red oil, won't he want the battle to be over? Yes, he won't want the battle to be over, because that is his source of means of livelihood. He wants the battle to continue till Jesus comes, so that he will continue to supply those who are at the battlefield and giving them food. Because in our place they say when a cow has a big this thing, it's an additional blessing for the one that owns the slaughter, but to the cow itself it's an additional weight.
Yes.
But to the one who owns the cow, who bought the cow, is going to say, I'm going to make more meat from this, I'm going to gain. But to the cow itself is a weight. I think that we I can say vividly, they paraded a traditional ruler recently who was paraded with kidnapper, who also sponsored them, bought car for them to be kidnapping his own people. Now, that's why I said that if we're going to deal with this issue of insecurity, the traditional ruler must be involved. The leaders of the youth must be involved. The people within the community. I can tell you that there are people today that knows they commit some crime, but they know that particular crime is tagged to some set of people. So they that are not among those set of people, they lie low and commit that crime because they knew that when such crime is committed, the first assumption is that, these are number 74, they are the one that carry out that crime. So that one give them a leeway to flow in and carry it out. I think the best way is that, number one, everyone in Nigeria must know that security is our own business. That is every one of us. Somebody like General T.Y. Danjuma said it long ago. Told these people, he said, if you are waiting for Nigerian army to protect you, he said it is a fallacy. Go ahead and protect yourself. And recently, I saw another security head who was telling people, because we are getting there, DSS telling you protect, because Now, and we are seeing that protecting yourself and defending yourself, we have seen what Supreme Court has done to somebody who protected himself against what is happening, what is his legitimate right. How do you explain that one? That tells you. You see, the insecurity you see in Nigeria is because you see, we call ourselves one nation, and all of us knew that in this country there are some persons that are more important than others. There are persons today, you can see all around the country, people are coming together to do, we are going to unseat the president. Yet, those set of people were there for 8 years. Exactly. Everybody gave them support. Now, they can't even wait for 2 years for the man to even carry out 2 years. They are already uncomfortable having nocturnal meetings, moving up and down. Why? Because they believe that the country is their own. If they don't believe that the country belongs to them, that everybody must be downtrodden. I can tell you vividly, there are people that are arrested by community and handed over to police station only for the DPO to be called to take those people to his own bedroom and open AC for them. How do you explain that one? There are people today you see up and down that are taking other people's things, and even inside their phone, that is touchlight phone, they can tell you the number of a commander of an armed forces somewhere. Even when they do what is evil, they will make a call there. Before you know, you that say you apprehended them, you end up becoming something. Something happened in Osun the other day. The vigilante that arrested the guys, they are serving 15 years jail now. Because the man they arrested is somebody that make call, and those vigilantes today. Now the question is that the children of those vigilantes, when their father finished 15 years of jail of doing what is right, apprehending somebody, and with proof and everything, but because the person is influential, they make some calls. Those guys are in jail now. Those guys, when they come out of jail after 15 years, would they still be a good citizen? Now their own children that knew for sure that our father did what was right to save life. What are those children going to toe the line that their father tore and they ended up in jail? The question is that the government must come out to be able to hold some people responsible. I see somebody who was a governor for 8 years. All of us knew the antecedent of the guy. We knew his dossier. If it's another country today, that man will be behind bar. But he's going up and down now. Going up and down. In a country where we have what it takes to sentence that man to jail and to be able to track all the evil he has done. As far as security is concerned. But today he's visiting people because we have become a country that moral does not pay. Until we start. Look at recently, some guys, they bust issue of tramadol in Ikoyi. What have we done to those NDA guys who were presented with billions of dollars for bribe? And those guys said, we are citizens, we are patriotic. Even though if you give us heaven and earth, we will not reverse our mind. Have we given them CFR? Have we given them OON? Have we promoted them? Have we done something that will make other officers not to cut corner? The government must come at that. Those people, I can tell you as we are here, my sister, there are policemen that if you give them bribe as we are here, they prefer to die than to collect bribe. They are still in our police force. Yeah. They prefer to die than to take bribe. But the system itself does not reward them. The system does not appreciate them. You will see them, they will use posting to frustrate them. Why? Because those guys are doing what is right. The government should come. You see, we must start to arrest those who are supposed to arrest others. I give you an example. There is no police station you go in Nigeria today that if you get there, as we are seated here, that you get there and you go into the office of the OC and say, open that cupboard there. You will be surprised that some of the cash there is more than what ATM machine have. That is a country. Now, if you go to checking point as we are talking now, you see the pocket of policemen. I'm not talking of something that is fallacy. I'm talking of we can leave this station now and drive down. But you see, escort will pass there. The police pocket is swelling. That's why salary is being paid. Then what do we do from there? You will see somebody with dread. You bring the person out. You say transfer so amount of money. How do we deal with that? Transfer to me as who? As a court of competent jurisdiction. Now when I transfer to you out of my loot, then both of us, which name do we call ourselves? Now this loot I transfer to you, does it end up with you? Is it going up to top, to a guy on top, until we begin to look inward? The way forward is that the masses don't wait for anybody to kill you. and you are waiting for one IPO to do burial for you and take care of your children. It is important that all of us, we should build up ourselves as a team. Landlord and landlady, let's know ourselves. Let's know what everybody is doing. I was telling my son just, I said, from this Sunday in church, everybody begin to introduce yourself to one another. I am Deborah. I'm into plastic. I'm into this one. We want to know who you are within the system. Let all of us know ourselves. The communal spirit of those days, that you can't enter a place without everybody knowing you. Yes. In a situation where somebody is a traditional ruler and he found people to kidnap his people and collect ransom, and everybody is still saying to that person. How do that person arrive? Those days when they pick traditional ruler, they are people of integrity. People that have been checked front and back. You can't solve this problem of insecurity without involving traditional rulers, that their fingerprint will be taken. Because there are some of these people who allow invaders to invade their people at the detriment of their people. They are enjoying it. So it is not an issue. You see, the masses suffer it. Yes. But the elite, they enjoy it.
All right, I think this conversation needs to extend to some other day. We have a whole lot to talk about. And basically, I think we should look towards the overhaul of the security system in Nigeria to, of course, look forward to a better Nigeria, especially security-wise. It's not going to be easy, but if every single person has their hands on deck, I think definitely we would get to where we are looking at. Thank you so much, Bishop Austin Igbasan. And, of course, Comrade Doris Ogbe for being here today on the show. We looked at the insecurity in Nigeria, the rising insecurity in Nigeria. We also looked at insecurity financially when we talked about the recent crash of CBEX earlier on the show today. My name is Ameze Bazwai. Thank you so much for being part of the program 60 Minutes Nigeria. Good afternoon.